Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 489 of DrunkNerds podcast. And as always, I'm Tyler. And joining me, we have the man, the myth. Oh, I'm backwards now. The man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
Oh man, let me tell you, I'm feeling pretty good.
Did Gables just crack a cold one? Look at him go. Oh, we're cracking cold ones, Gables. Dude, you did with one. That was one hand too. I like how it's blurred out in the on for video listeners. That was impressive. I can't do it one handed. Let me try it. Okay. I can't.
You can't get a can open with one finger.
No, I can't. I can't. I've got a lot of unsatisfied girlfriends, so. Uh,
You literally grip the can though. But anyway,
I
man,
can't.
yeah,
I
I'm
got baby
doing
hands. My beers,
fine.
I got a weird case of beers because every single one I open up, it foams. It's foaming. I don't know why it does that. It's very weird. It's very upsetting. But
I'll tell you what, man, I'm doing all right.
I
I
am
went
so
through
I
work.
am so impressed by you, Gibbs. Oh, I drank both my beers. God damn it.
I went through work, did a lot of my various same old like stuff. Did a lot of cashiering and stuff. But I'll tell you what, I've been feeling good this past week that I actually went back onto Twitter and I started shit posting a bunch of things because, well,
As you do on Twitter.
dude, it just feels a lot more fun to actually go forth and just start just commenting shit on Twitter. I mean, granted, it's like it just feels like it's a lot less lot less serious and a lot less like much of a cesspool than it is actually going through. It's like, hey, you know what? This and this and this and that. It's like, oh, here's a joke here for you, and then all of a sudden it's like, well,
Yeah. No, I mean it's not. It's just kind of like, how do I phrase this? It's basically like I've talked about like I've kind of made my Twitter the way I like it, where it's just like it's like 95% what I want it to be. There's always gonna be the 5% you don't want, but it's just like
yeah,
95% like, it's just I want sports, I want wrestling, and I want video games. That's all I want to hear
there you
about.
go.
And like I've got it like I only follow like 100 people, and it's just usually it's just like sports analysts and wrestling people like Dave Meltzer, who does like wrestling journalist, and video game like people and video game news places, and that's it. And let me tell you, it's great. But let me tell you though, you go a little out just out that outside that jurisdiction right there. You go
Hmm.
out, you click on the search, you go to the trending, you go to any of that. Still a cesspool, Gables. So
Oh
it's
yeah, yeah, I agree with you, man. I mean,
so
there's still
it's all
things
about
that look
who
like
you
a fucking
follow. Just
cesspool.
take. Let me tell you, man.
True.
I that's
I
like anybody that tweets a lot of political shit or anything like that. I don't want to know about it, even if I agree with them. I just don't want to know. I don't want to know. I don't want to. I
dude,
don't want
I
to see. I don't
understand
want to
you
see them
completely.
retweet the other side. I don't want to see them retweet my side. I just don't want to hear about it. It's miserable. So I like. I just stay in my lane. I stay in my little echo chamber of. I just want to hear about video games. I want to hear about wrestling. And I want to hear about like basketball and football, and then maybe some
Yeah.
like funny memes every now and again. That's all I want. That's all I want.
So let me tell you a little bit about something though. Well, I'm on Twitter like the other day and stuff. Like I was saying before, it's like I'm going through some shit posting and stuff, and then I come across the one user and stuff that I've watched some of his YouTube comment before, Lost Pause. This dude, his nickname is Noble and stuff. He's predominantly like this big old weeb and stuff like that on YouTube. And what's hilarious is like he posted the question, it's like, okay, it's like show me pictures of your anime waifus. And what did I do? I just pointed and I just posted a fucking picture of a brick wall. It's like she's strong, depend like dependable, and at the same time, it's like I like the color red.
That's why you keep me around, Gables. Um, fun fact: their first dance at their wedding, Gables and his brick wall was "She's a brick." House. My beer has finally subsided enough that oh no, it's still
Oh
foaming.
man.
It's still foaming.
But other than that, though, it's like
Quit doing that.
NFL draft stuff. Highly excited about what my Niners went through and picked.
Mm,
But
same.
I
Packers.
also, I also did make a pickup this past week, and I have yet to crack it open since I've been fairly tired after work this week. So I got Triangle Strategy
Nice. It's all
on
blurred,
my
but okay,
Switch.
yeah, that's cool though. Good for you. There we go. We see it now. For audio listeners, he's holding up a picture or holding up his copy of Triangle Strategy. Very
Well,
nice.
that's the thing, though, man. It's like I was gonna get Kirby, but yet it was fucking sold out in fucking Walmart.
Just order it
So I'm like,
online, Gables. Have it delivered. Welcome to the 21st century where you can have shit delivered to you.
I understand that. But at the same point, man, it's like I got Triangle Strategy. I'm going to be playing a little bit of that. I'm going to be playing Kirby fairly soon. I am saying that, but I am definitely going to be playing that damn game soon because it's very fucking tempting right now. But other than that, though, it's been really exciting, interesting, if not kind of crazy week. How about you?
It's all right. It's been a very exhausting week. I've been doing a lot of sleeping today, and it's been kind of rainy, cloudy, and windy and cold. So been been a nice little day chilling inside, catching up on some Z's because it's been a very long week. But Gables, I was showing you before the show. I was at my best friend Justin got married last week. If you missed it, I was talking about last week. But I wanted to. I've been waiting to open these because I wanted to do it on the show. But he bought me as a gift for being one of his groomsmen 2 packs of Pokemon cards, guys. 2 packs. Let me see if there we go. It's kind of reflecting. I
Yeah,
apologize. So this is what we got here. So I thought it'd be fun,
interesting.
Gables, to open them up on the show. Let's see if I can get them open though. I see it now. Now I'm all like subconscious about the way I'm opening things after you just open that fucking 7-Up. Um, so let me see. Oh God, I can't do it. Oh, God. See,
All you have to do is just pull.
I'm pulling,
like
Gables. I'm fucking pulling. Don't come at me. I'm the fucking master of opening shit. I'm doing it. It's not working. It's not working. Give me some. I'll be right back. I'm getting a butter knife.
A butter knife. Come on, Tyler. You just gotta go forth and just undo the hooks, one at a time, kind of like with your ex-girlfriend. That's about it.
Grabbing a beer too. I'm back. Give me a second. Put my headphones on. Fucking goddamn it! All you gotta do is this. Look at me. Fucking I can open a goddamn beer with one fucking hand. Goddamn fucking asshole. This is very dangerous. I've been drinking. All right, guys. All right.
Oh, he's got a butter knife. Watch out.
So what's this one? It's got some codes on here. Redeem your rewards. Okay, I don't care about that. All right, guys. I don't know what's in them. I just opened it up. All right, Gables, you're gonna tell me because I'm not gonna know.
Okie doke.
All right.
You got a Starly.
Starly. I know that one.
You got an Execute.
Oh, okay. I know these are Gen 1s. I know these names.
You got a Trapinch.
Okay. Any of these cool? Are this cool at all?
Yeah. You got a Gibble, which that's pretty cool too.
It's pretty close to Gables. That's cool.
Yeah. You got a Buizel.
I like Buizel. I got a lot of those in Legends Arceus. Okay.
Oh, holy shit. You got a Dust Noir. That's awesome.
Cool?
That art is actually fucking amazing.
Do ladies want to sleep with me now because I have a Dust Noir? All right. Cool.
Okay, let's see what you got here also. Okay, you got yourself a Grimmsnarl.
Grimmsnarl?
That's interesting.
That's not real. You're making up shit now.
And what the fuck is this card?
It's a V-Star? I don't know what that means.
V-Star sticker?
It's like, hey ladies, you want to take my V card?
Okay, let's see what we got here. It's like Roseanne's backup. That's a trainer card. I'm not sure what that one does. Let's see. We got a Beartic.
Okay. I think this is the last one here.
And then you have a Dusclops. Okay, cool. That's the pre-evolved form of Dusclops.
I had the crazy version of him in Legends Arceus.
Nice.
All right, cool. That was one down.
Tell you what, man, Dust Noir is such a fun-ass Pokemon because it's basically a tank. And I remember back when Diamond and Pearl was fucking crazy because it's like you could use things like Substitute and stuff because it had so much fucking HP and like defensive shit that you could just go and like hide behind a wall so you can hit things with either Shadow Ball or Will-O-Wisp or whatever the fuck.
Okay. All right. Let's try this. All right, number 2, Gable.
Okay. So this one, you got a Venipede.
Okay.
Got a Snover.
Okay. I know some of these names.
All right, so you got yourself.
Look at that.
Hey, Galarian Slowpoke.
All right.
So you got Crabrawler. That one's from.
Okay.
That one's from Sun and Moon. Yeah. You got Snowrunt.
Oh, I'm stupid. Don't care about him.
Let's see.
It's a holographic. What is that?
You got him. Goddamn, I'm trying to read the name of this thing.
Hatchrum.
Yeah, that's like a middle evolution to like another.
Very tight. No one cares about him.
That one's Sword and Shield. This one's Zeb Strika.
Okay, I like
Okay.
that one. That's kind of cool looking.
It's a fucking awesome
All right,
zebra. No, so you got
energy card.
Steel Energy,
Okay.
got
All
Celio,
right. Haunter.
Haunter.
Haunter. Last one.
And let's see, you got a trainer card right here that's like Roxanne. Oh, Flannery.
Flannery.
That's what it is.
So I don't know. I don't know if those are cool or not, but that's fun. I enjoyed that.
Oh, well, you got some fun cards there, right there. You got your Dust Noir, you got your like your Haunter and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Plus, some other stuff. So that ain't too bad, man. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah.
Very cool. So yeah, just want to do that. That was cool. I like that. I'm gonna put this knife over here somewhere. Out of the way. Oh, Gables had to walk away. It's just me now, guys. It's just me now. Um, okay. So yeah, that was fun though. I'm gonna put this other beer here. I'm gonna see. Maybe I can do it like Gables. Can I do it like Gables? My other hand is the table. Oh, oh God, it's foaming. It's so foamy. Why is it doing that? All right. Well, I did that. I apologize for our audio listeners on the beginning of this podcast. But I thought it'd be fun to do that. So if you're watching us in the audio version, head over to our YouTube account. Just look Drunk Nerds Podcast, Drunk Dash Nerds, or whatever, and you'll find us on there. Give us a big old like, and subscribe, and follows and shares. Like I said, you hit that like button right over in Gables' junk area. We really would appreciate that. And then while you're doing all that, if you look in the comment or look in the show notes, at the bottom there, you'll see a link tree, and that will have all of our places that we're available at that I can think of, whether it's Apple, Spotify, Twitter, Facebook. It has our personal Twitter accounts and all that. And so if you want to just please go over there, follow us, like us, share us in all those places. We really would appreciate it. But Gables, I have a
Mm.
big announcement to make. I
Okay.
haven't told
What's
you
up?
what it is. I'm almost 33 years old, Gables. Almost
Okay.
33.
Yes.
And today I accomplished something that I'm very proud of.
Okay.
I folded a burrito properly for the first time.
Oh, yes. That's always amazing to accomplish.
I've just never been able to do it. I watched a YouTube video. It was about 40 seconds long. Took me 3 tries, and Gables, it worked. The key is, I was making breakfast, some breakfast burritos this morning. I had potatoes in there with some cheese, some sausage, some
Yeah.
bacon,
Hmm.
a little bit of salt and pepper in there, maybe. Kind of. My problem is I just want to put as much shit in that burrito as possible, so you can barely
Oh,
close it. And then while you're eating it, everything just falls out. And then I'm like, oh, cool, I got food for later. The key is you just don't put all that shit in there, and you can close it properly. And I did that, and but also Gables is awesome. Instead of having like 2 gigantic burritos, you can have 4 small burritos,
there
and
you
that's almost
go.
better. So I'm very proud of myself. So I just want to mention that. Um,
That's pretty
I'm sorry I
fun.
withheld that information from you, but I just felt that was necessary, Gables. But Gables, we are 13 minutes in. We should probably talk about why we're here, and that is to talk about some
Alrighty.
video games, Gables. We had some news this week. So on June the 12th at 10 a.m. Pacific time, West Coast, Best Coast, it is sticking with it. Xbox is keeping their event. It's a Sunday morning. They used to always go on the Sunday morning. The last like 5 or 6 years now, the Sunday morning of E3. E3 is happening this year, but we're having that Summer Game Fest, whatever the fuck that means. And they said that they are continuing to have that at that time. So kind of the first, thing to fall here as far as like first domino to fall as far as what's happening with that E3 time period and what is
Hmm.
Jeff Keighley said that he's going to keep everything for Summer Game Fest in the month of June. So hopefully the first one happens. We're at the end of April tomorrow. It's April 30th at 11:30 at night. So in 30 minutes, it's going to be May. So it's gonna be May. And so it's about time. We're about 6 weeks out from that time period from this. So yeah, that's happening. And it was I started compiling. I'm like, what are all the studios they own again? Like, okay, cool. And then I started like, all right, so this is what they just put out recently. Here's some ongoing games. Here's what they were rumored to make. Here's what we know of. But then I found an article from Windows Central, who's a really good source for like, especially like Windows stuff, obviously, but primarily for gaming, Xbox. They're really good on that. They've had a lot of good news and leaks and rumors come from them. They're pretty good, pretty reliable as far as intel from them. And they actually had a a quick list that I found after about 45 minutes of researching all this. I just found this. I'm like, oh shit! I deleted everything. I'm like, here we go. So we have a list here of pretty much everything, and I don't know what some of these games are. Like I've heard about like, all right, so 343 Industries. Obviously, they just had Halo Infinite come out. They just talked about season 2 plans. So there's stuff like that. Like Gables, actually, before we get into that, what are you expecting to see from this event? It's gonna be
There's a
Xbox
couple
and
different.
Bethesda.
All right, there's a couple different things I want to see. Obviously, the most obvious gameplay, more gameplay of Starfield.
Yep.
That's obviously the number one thing that most people want to see from this presser that Xbox is doing. Another thing I would like to see and see if it does happen and stuff, see a little bit more in regards to Hellblade 2.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely something that I'm looking forward to seeing if they are going to be releasing in 2023 or if it's going to be 2022, late 2022.
It's 2023.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much what I kind of want to see is like the gameplay portion of it, like more of it. But I kind of want to see what else they're going to go forth with some of the games they had announced. But yeah, we've heard next to nothing since their release, like their reveal trailers and stuff, meaning One Perfect Dark. I would like to see a little bit more in regards to seeing what we know, what they've gone through for, like, say, Perfect Dark. Another one, and it's kind of a personal thing, is seeing if the release of this GoldenEye 007, like the old N64 classic game,
Yeah.
if that's going to be a thing, because apparently that has been rumored. It has been leaked online in regards to the Xbox 360 game, like achievement stuff. People have actually had it on their Xboxes, like certain people.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a wait and see type of approach to see when that is going to be announced or released suddenly. But those are the major things I want to see from this presser.
Cool.
How
Yeah.
about you, Tyler?
Yeah. I'm like, there's Redfall, which was supposed to launch in the
That's
summertime.
correct. Yeah.
Which is like it's like like a 4-player co-op open world like vampire game, but like they announced it last year, but everybody it just looked like it was all like a CG trailer, but the CG trailer just looked like a Left 4 Dead clone but vampires. And then they
Hmm.
quickly put on Twitter, "This is not a Left 4 Dead game. This is an open world game." Like they're pretty upset
Nice.
about it. I'm like, well, you guys made the trailer that looks like
They
Left 4 Dead,
it
so
made it look like Left 4 Dead.
yeah. So that game was announced for summer of this year, but we're like I said, it's gonna be May in about 25 minutes now, and we have heard nothing about that. We haven't seen actual gameplay or anything. That's from Arcane Studios. That's the people
Hmm.
that did like Deathloop and
Dishonored.
Dishonored, yeah, and Prey. So
Yes.
they have multiple studios though. So like pretty much most of their studios have not multiple studios, multiple teams rather. So I expect to see a lot of that. But like I said, I want to run through some of these. So like 343 Industries, obviously Halo Infinite, they have the God, what's that company? They have in their company they just like have working for them. I can't remember the initials are CA. Someone's screaming at me right now, probably like listening to this or like yelling at me the name probably. Um, but I can't think of it. Like there's a new studio that's working with them and helping them develop this as well. But season 2 is starting in a few days. Um,
Mhm.
Forge and Co-op got delayed, so maybe that gets revealed there. Um, Windows Central actually, like I was talking about, like I'm using their article for that. They put out a thing about there's been like the leaks and the rumors of what's next for like the co-op part of it for them, and it sounds like that stuff is a late 2023, early 2024 best case scenario for that for like more single player because right now they're just hunkered down on getting co-op Forge and getting the multiplayer to work. That's part of the reason why they have this other studio that's been
Yeah.
helping them helping working with Xbox for years. I cannot remember the goddamn name of the studio. Anyways, they've been helping them for years now, but basically now they're just full time working with them on this. So maybe that will relieve some a little bit of pressure from them as far as allows the 343 to actually work on some stuff. But Compulsion Games, they did the what was that game called? I blanked on that fucking name. It looked like everybody thought it looked like BioShock. God, it has like it looks like BioShock. I'm gonna
System Shock.
no Compulsion Some people are yelling at me right now. I guarantee you, listening to this podcast, like this guy's a fucking idiot. Um, and I agree, but I promise you, We Happy Few
All
was the game
right.
they did. So
Yes.
they did that, and also Contrast, which was a PS4 launch game. Project Midnight, I believe, if I remember correctly, there's been some rumors about that one that I think this is the one that is rumored to be a shooter game. So we don't know what they're doing. Like We Happy Few was a game that they that came out like I think 2017 or 2016, but it was early access. And I remember that game, like everybody was really excited for it when they first announced it, and then like when it came out, and it's like, oh, this is not at all what this game looked like before. Like it turned to it was actually like a survival game, where like it looked like the next Bioshock game. Double Fine, they just did Psychonauts 2, so they're probably gonna be quiet for a while unless they have like they could have something. Who knows with them? They could announce something, I guess. In Exile, they're the Wasteland development team. They have another game they're working on. I don't really know much to be honest with them. Like you said, Ninja Theory, Hellblade 2. We finally got gameplay for that at Game Awards back in December. That game was a 2023 game. I'm hoping that if we do see anything from it, maybe we like get concrete like maybe like a release period. It'd be awesome.
Yeah,
I'm hope
really.
we don't know that it's if it's early 2023, if it's late 2023 or whatever. Like but like right now, internally, it's slated as a 2023 game. So it'd be cool if we got like a release date or period for that if we see anything from it. Obsidian, we know they're doing Grounded. I think that finally had 1.0 last year. People really like that game. That's the game where everybody gets shrunk down. It's basically Honey I Shrunk the Kids, the video game. Avowed is their Elder Scrolls game they're making. That game is a late 2023 game at the earliest, probably 2024. Excuse me. Maybe we see something from them, but we've already seen gameplay from that, even though that was like a year and a half ago.
Right.
Outer Worlds 2, they announced they're developing last year at E3. I don't think we're gonna see that for a while. That just kind of seemed like, hey, we're working on this, come work for us type of thing.
We're a
Um,
few years out from that game.
I mean, yeah, I mean, if Avowed is a 2023, 2024 game, that's probably a 2026-ish game. That's probably end of the generation type game. And then there's also been the hubbub about New Vegas 2, but that game is probably 2030. Playground Games, we know like they just put up Forza Horizon 5. Maybe we get an update from them. Fable, but Fable is like a 2025 game, so maybe we see something from them. I know Xbox has been really big, like internally. You've been hearing a lot about them for the last year or so. Is like they've announced a lot of projects really early, um, but then we continue to see updates from these. But the updates are just more CG trailers. Like it's just a lot of like we see CG trailers. Like it's kind of like the EA problem EA plays where you get like they basically announce like, hey, we're making this game, but it's like literally like the month they started working on it, and then for like 4 E3s in a row, we would see like design stuff for this. We see some artwork for this game for like 3 or 4 years before we finally saw gameplay, and it sounds like they are aware internally that um, they have that perception. It's fine to do CG trailers, but it's like to continue to show games year over year and not show gameplay and just like we had that issue with PlayStation a while back where they had the four big games. They had like Death Stranding, Ghost of Tsushima, Days Gone, and Last of Us Part Two. And like there was that E3 where they just like showed those four games. That was their entire press conference was those four games, which was
Mm-hmm.
awesome. Those games looked incredible and they all came out. And I mean Days Gone was middling, but everything else was incredible. Except for Death Stranding, I think it was garbage. But people like that game. Bad people, but people like that game. But anyways, so for years we still kept seeing those same games over and over again. And I think they're aware of that and they're trying to get away from that. But the problem is they have a lot of shit announced, and a lot of the shit is ways away. And it's like we seen like November was awesome. And like November, December, we had Forza Horizon 5, and we had Halo Infinite come out back to back within a few weeks of each other. And then this year, I don't think we've had anything from them first party wise. And like right now, the only things we're looking at right now is like Starfield. Yeah, we want to see gameplay for that. I think this is gonna be the big blowout for them on that. Redfall is scheduled to be a 20. It was supposed to be like I said summer this year, but we have nothing about that. So I mean that's a fall game. And then Forza Motorsport 7 is rumored to come out this year. So I think that's gonna be the big game they show off too. I mean there's like Coalition. They're working on the like there's that Unreal 5 engine game that they're doing that's like a mini, it's like a smaller game, but it's more like they're making this to like you're making a small game to like get used to working on this new engine. Um, so maybe we see like Sea of Thieves, like Rare, like with Sea of Thieves. Maybe we get updates out like last year did the Pirates of the Caribbean stuff. Maybe we get more from that. Everwild is their game they announced a few years ago, but then the director left, so they basically completely rebooted that
Hmm.
game like a year or so ago. So that game's probably a ways off. The Initiative, like you mentioned, Perfect Dark, that game's
Yes.
probably several years off as well. I do think we'll get the GoldenEye game. I think it's going to come out, and then at the same time we're gonna Nintendo's probably gonna announce it's also coming to Nintendo
Yep.
Online or whatever. Turn 10, Forza, or was it, maybe it's Forza Motorsport 8. I don't know, whatever one. The next Forza Motorsport is coming out this year apparently. Uh, Undead Labs, they announced State of Decay 3 summer 2020, I believe. And they did a CG trailer for that when they had the zombie deers. So maybe we hear about that now. Maybe we see something for that. Um, Bethesda, I don't think we're going to see from anything from like maybe like anything from Elder Scrolls or anything like that. I think what's interesting is I don't think we're going to. I'm wondering though, like we might hear. I could see like games they're already out. Maybe unless it's a substantial like big thing, like big updates to them, we won't see them here. Because you gotta remember last year they did big like a big 90-minute thing, and it was a bunch of brand new games. They announced 30 games, 27 of them were Game Pass games, Game Pass games, and then they like a few days later they did the extended edition where they had Paris Lily go on and host it, and it was basically them like deep diving more into like the games they talked about and also like announcing like updates to games that are already out. And then like last year at Gamescom in August, they did like another Xbox event where like it was extremely boring events because they would spend 15 20 minutes talking about Age of Empires or like they deep dive into like but if you're interested in those things it's awesome, but they would like deep dive into like these games. So maybe we don't get a lot of small things. Maybe they just focus on the bigger stuff. Maybe we
Right.
get some cool. I think we're gonna see a lot. We're obviously gonna see maybe some big like third party support. Probably we're gonna see they're gonna focus a lot on Game Pass. That's still the big thing. It's the best deal in gaming. I think we're gonna see more of that. So I don't know if we'll see anything from like Fallout 76, Elder Scrolls 6, and I doubt we'll see. I think Starfield's gonna be the big thing. I don't. Maybe it's too early for id Software. Doom just came out 2 years ago. Doom Eternals. Um,
And then just finish up in the DLC portion of it too, I believe.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think it was less than a year ago. Yeah, the last of the DLC came out for that. I mean, obviously the main team's probably working on something right now, but who knows if it's Doom. Arcane Studios, like I said, they're working on Redfall. Maybe they announced something about Deathloop because that 1 year is coming up, but because that PlayStation has a 1 year exclusivity for consoles for
Yes.
Ghostwire and Deathloop. But they're in these contracts, you can't advertise that this game is coming to other consoles for X amount of time. So
Ah,
like until like maybe who knows what the timeline is? Maybe it's 3 months.
November.
You can't. So the game came out in September, so maybe it's like you can't say anything until 60 days or 30 days or what? Who knows? So maybe they don't say anything about Deathloop there. Who knows? And Ghostwire Tokyo just came out, so Tango Gameworks. So they are working on another game. It sounds like they've kind of teased Evil Within 3.
Hmm.
Fingers crossed that's true, but that's probably ways away. Machine Games,
Pretty
we know they're working on Indiana Jones. It sounds like from everything we're hearing is Wolfenstein 3 is just on the back burner and may never happen, which is incredibly depressing because it's been almost 5 years since that game came out. Uh,
Wolfenstein 2.
yeah, Wolfenstein 2, and we did have the one I liked that came out in 2019, the small game that with the two daughters. That was a lot of fun. I like that game, but I played it a couple months later when they fixed all the bugs. But that game was really good. So, but it's been a few years since they've put anything out. But they are making. They announced last year they're making Indiana Jones, and that right now is basically the main focus of the studio. There are, like I said, there's multiple teams there, but the main team is working on the Wolfenstein team is working on Indiana Jones. Maybe the other team's working on Wolfenstein 3. Let's hope because
Okay.
that'd be awesome. Um, ZeniMax, apparently they're working on an MMO, but like a Starfield MMO, but who knows? I'm trying to think of yeah, that's all the studios, but they have a lot of studios. And like I said, there's a lot of things announced. It's just a matter of like and like a lot of like I said, a lot of things announced. And it's like a good chunk of these games are probably not come out this year. So I think it's gonna be like I could see like them like doing some updates on these games they announced, maybe some more announcements, and then but like really spending the big chunks. Kind of like a direct, when it's like it's a 45-minute direct. Here's like three big games, and those
Right.
three big games take up 50% of the direct. I can see them like that, doing something like that. Like last year, they had, like I said, it's 90 minutes. They talked about 30 games, and they really focus on like Halo and a couple of their games. So I can see that. But yeah, I'm really excited. I mean, obviously, we're really excited because like these things, like when we're this time of year, when we, like that E3 time, I don't know what to call it now, Summer Game Fest time, like anything is possible. Um, Hopefully, Jeff Keighley does like the opening night live thing he did last year because that's like where uh, Elden Ring got shown gameplay for the first time, so maybe we see something on that. But yeah, I don't know. I'm really excited. Sorry for get so long winded on that, but I mean, so they got a lot of studio, so it's crazy about them. So, anyways, Gales, moving on here. So Ubisoft is up for sale apparently. So, Bloomberg is reporting, and gotta give credit where credit's due. Gables, we been very open about Kotaku. They have their
Yeah.
problems. They've made a lot of changes over the last year or so, so it sounds like it's getting better. So it's not as like clickbaity and bullshitty as it used to be. Um, but Kotaku had a lot to cover on this one, and so did Bloomberg. But so Bloomberg is reporting that Blackstone and KKR and company, they are two big private equity firms, two of the biggest in the world, have been studying the French business and preliminarily taken over interest in Ubisoft. That company also hasn't yet entered any serious negotiations with potentially acquiring the company. Since July of 2018, the stock of Ubisoft has gone from $110 a share to $41.
That's a
So
large drop.
that's like almost 2/3. Um, and then the company is apparently worth about 5 billion, but that doesn't mean shit because people are way overpaying for things right now. So, I
Absolutely.
mean, we are not business people, but I wouldn't. I mean, Xbox bought Bethesda for $8 billion, and that company is nowhere near the size of Ubisoft.
No.
Um, and so you gotta think that they probably look at like, Ubisoft, or is it we're Ubisoft? We have some of the biggest, richest IPs in the world, and Bethesda got bought for 8 billion. We're gonna need 15. Who knows? I don't know. Yves Guillemot, who is who's currently running the company, and he's kind of the face of the company. He's been the face. He's the guy that did like the pose with Miyamoto with the guns when he announced Mario plus Rabbids 2, 2017 at E3. Um, Apparently, so his son, which was actually a pretty big deal last year, he was kind of like the heir apparent. Like think of this in wrestling terms. This is Yves Guillemot is Vince, and his son was is Shane. And when Shane left the company, it was a big, huge deal. It's kind of the same thing happened here, but in Ubisoft terms, where he left the company last year, he's working for a different company now, and basically there's no heir apparent to the company. It's always been a Guillemot family-run company. And the next son takes over. Now he has no kids to take over the company for him. So that's a big deal. Then also we have all like the issues going on with the sexual misconduct cases. They're being investigated
Hmm.
for all that. And then on top of that, the talent's been very unhappy and leaving in droves. We've been hearing a lot about that. Like games like have game progress has stopped or has not stopped, but has slowed down quite a bit because not only is a ton of like we heard about like one of the studios has about like I think it's like 150 employees and 60 people left over the course of a year.
Hmm.
So you're talking over a third of your company has left in the course of a year. That's not good. You got a problem, and it's not just talent. It's not just like the Joe Schmoes of the business. It's like directors and the leads leaving studios. So we have a lot of issues with that. And basically, the next Far Cry, Assassin's Creed, and Ghost Recon, they're three big IPs. Those games are further out than what you would expect. So probably not gonna have another Assassin's Creed again this year. So yeah, which is crazy because they were working on that whole thing, whereas like you get every other year, or like you get one, then you get a break, then you get two in a row, then a break, and then it was like we're getting one every 2 years. Well, we had Valhalla in 2020, and we're probably not gonna have another one this year. So, uh, and we've seen like they take a lot of chances with their games. There was that weird what was that one, the biking one that came out last year that just no one cared about. Was like you can like
Mm.
snowboard and ride ride
Oh
bicycles.
boy. That's the thing, though. I didn't really remember too much of the name of it, but
Yeah, it
I
just kind
heard
of came
that
and went.
it was just something that just came and went, but it was an interesting concept, but didn't really catch foot.
Yeah, like Watch Dogs was kind of a disappointment. Um, Prince of Persia, it's kind of No Man's Land. There was that one that was the Breath of the Wild knockoff that people liked.
Immortal, Phoenix
Immortal,
Rising.
yeah, terrible name. Um, Gods and Monsters, way better name. But yeah, so but the game came out, people seemed to like it, but just nobody really, not a lot of people really played it. And yeah, like I said, like they've kind of like almost in a way like done the what Activision has done and kind of forced them in a way. So like a lot of like very sexual misconduct issues, not as bad. I mean, I don't want to compare sexual misconduct. It's bad. This is all bad, but um, like it's not as public as the Activision ones, where they're not being sued by the government. Um, and sorry, there's people in the hallway talking, but yeah, it's not So they put themselves in a kind of a weird area where, um, like Activision just kind of sorry, but like they basically shuttered everything else and merged everything for Call of Duty,
Mm.
um, and we're kind of seeing that where like not to that extent, but none of their games all combined equal Call of Duty. But now it's like they have all these studios. They're taking chances. Those games have not worked out. Like the last Ghost Recon came out. No one gave a shit. No one cared. I can't remember what it's called. Had the guy from Punisher in it. Love him. He's awesome. But no one cared about that game. That game came when they tried to put NFTs in their games. They quickly, no one gives a shit about those things, and they quickly stopped doing that. They're just kind of like Mario plus Rabbids 2's coming out. That's gonna be awesome, but
Yeah,
that's not gonna make any major waves for them. So they're kind of in this like weird floundering area, where they they're taking chances, but like they're big franchises like they're selling well, but some of them like we've seen like Assassin's Creed is kind of worn out its welcome and had to like, kind of go back to the drawing board. Far Cry seems to be doing okay, pretty like still kicking ass. Like Ghost Recon is kind of whatever. Like they announced Splinter Cell's making a new Splinter Cell, but that's years and years away. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, I guess I don't know. What was your thoughts when you heard the news?
well, honestly, I wasn't too surprised that eventually Ubisoft decided to go forward and try to check into seeing if it could be bought by someone else, because a lot of the company missteps, a lot of the whole business corporate like mishandlings in regards to certain games and also in regards to certain like type of deals in that regards have played foot in Ubisoft not only declining in sales in terms of their major AAA IPs, but also it's like also in terms of the microtransactions, the NFT stuff, and a lot of the anti-consumer stuff that has been present inside of some of their mainline games the past few years, to where gamers were initially just tired and getting kind of like exhausted in regards to having to try to play some of these Ubisoft games. There have been a couple of good ones and kind of like that have came out from this whole stuff. I mean, Immortals Phoenix Rising was definitely one of those games to where it was a big surprise in regards to gamers because it's like this is coming from Ubisoft. This is like more or less their Breath of the Wild style of like open world sort of game, only based upon Greek mythology, like in a whimsical way. That one was pretty successful from what I understood, but in regards to their Assassin's Creed games, I mean, hell, their Assassin's Creed games, like for the most part, have been going through and selling fairly well since they came back,
Oh
like
yeah,
with
extremely well.
Valhalla in that regards, plus
Mm-hmm.
that new
They said the
expansion.
DLCs and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the DLC stuff that came out in regards to Valhalla, like this past year and stuff, that's doing all right. But the whole NFTs inside of the Ghost Recon, their latest Ghost Recon game that they had out. First off, that game had a tumultuous launch to begin with, so that one wasn't entirely popular beforehand. It was more basic. There was a lot of issues in terms of like the mission structure, the gameplay of it, the frame rate of it. Just it was a botched launch to the extent, not as horrible as say like with the last Battlefield game that EA put out, but it was getting pretty close to on par with
Well, Battlefield
what
is
that.
the new Battlefield's way, but is far more successful than that Ghost Recon game.
Yes.
But yeah,
Well, yes, of course. I
um,
mean, that's a lot more successful, but the point right here is like
yeah,
that
I see what you're saying.
everything else came into like a collage of like just epic sort of dumpster fire esque levels to where it's completely it's left perspectives of this game like completely lower than that of Wildlands that they released a couple of years earlier before that. That was at its most point successful. There was good like exploration in terms of their open world, their mission structure, fairly competent like co-op style of play, but and so the latest one, not only the tumultuous launch, but the NFT shoe in stuff that was completely fell flat on their faces because nobody really gave a shit.
And it wasn't
I
even
mean,
really. They were calling NFTs, but it really wasn't an NFT.
yeah,
Um, yeah, none of it made any sense. Yeah, it's just um, I, I, I mean, whatever. Ubisoft gets bought, like that's fine. It's just more. I'm more worried about like I want somebody that's already a video game company like to buy it or merge with it or something because I don't know. I was reading about like some people were reporting on these like doing some video game websites were reporting on like these companies like these private equity companies, and a lot of them what they do is they just they'll take out gigantic loans with the credit of that company they just bought. So like they'll take out gigantic loans with Ubisoft's credit, and then eventually the companies will just go out of business. They'll shut the companies down and give them like they'll take that money, give themselves gigantic bonuses to like the people that run it. Give them just basically take the money and then shut the business down because they can't pay off the loans. Um,
mm,
which nobody wants that. Like I don't want. I mean,
no, no,
Ubisoft still
no.
makes some awesome games. People, like I still, like I love the Assassin's Creed games. Far Cry games are people love those games. Ghost Recon, like Rainbow Six, stuff like that. Like there's a lot of great IPs there. So it's like if they get bought, they get bought. Like I'd rather the game will just get their shit together, quit being shitty to their employees, take care of people that are sexually harassing their employees, and fix it, turn the company around, than them get bought and by some outsider that doesn't understand the video game world and just created the company. So like,
What's
I,
interesting in
I'd
regards to
rather
the whole
EA buy
list?
it than anything, honestly,
Well,
than
yeah,
somebody
yeah,
else
I
or
understand.
Tencent. Than
What I find most interesting about this, though, is like this comes not even that long ago when they averted like this whole hostile takeover sort of thing of Vivendi
Vivendi. Yep.
and stuff, and now all of a sudden it's like now they're in this big old like hole and stuff because their last couple of major releases didn't pan to the extent that they wanted. I mean, the whole thing with like the last Watch Dogs game kind of like floundering with that.
Yep.
Far Cry 6, even though it had some decent reviews to some extent, it really wasn't that big of a seller as it should
It.
have been.
I mean, it's still one of the top 10 selling games of last year. So
Right.
it was a huge. It was huge. But the problem is like they don't have that big banger after banger. Like yeah, like it really felt like Vivendi like trying to take over like lit a fire up their ass,
Yeah.
and they just like they were like I remember like beginning when this podcast first started almost 9 years ago. Um, I was talking about like Ubisoft was my favorite developer for a good 3-4 year stretch there, where like Watch Dogs 1 wasn't great, but it was really good. Watch Dogs 2 was awesome. The Assassin's Creed games at that point were still awesome. Like the Far Cry games coming out, like Far Cry 3 and all that shit. Like that into the 360 PS3 and like the first half of like the PS4 Xbox One generation, they were awesome. Like they were still like like, and then they were doing like the Child of Light. They were doing Rayman. They were fucking Valiant Hearts. Like they were doing all these awesome games. They were like everything was like home runs for them. Like they were selling great, the games were great, and it just seemed like. And then it was like 4 or 5 years ago, like they finally beat Vivendi from a hostile takeover, and it's just like, and they just kind of like, well, just
They
they kind of
sort of
rested
set
on their
on their
laurels.
laurels.
Yeah,
Yeah, they rested on their laurels and they implemented different types of like anti-consumer things inside of some of their products and stuff, and then it's like other bad business decisions accumulated into now to where this extent is they are looking to be bought out. Who knows who's going to buy them out? I personally would love to see them like maybe a lot of if the company itself can't be fully bought out, like a lot of their IPs going to someplace else. I mean, at this point, I mean, I'm open to that. I don't want them to go forth and be like enveloped like a private equity and stuff, and then just completely like just be drained completely of their funds because no one wins
yeah.
in that situation. Not the
Everybody
gamers,
loses
especially
except for
not them.
the assholes that drain the company with all its money and left.
Right,
You
right.
get the consumers, the employees, thousands of jobs. People get fucked. So it's like I said, I'd rather Tencent bought this company than or EA or 2K than I mean like I don't know. It just sucks. Yeah, it's like we've seen, like we said, we've seen this with Activision where it's like they have that those cash cows, and it's like you can see like it's starting to get dried up. Like, do you start pumping more resources into it to keep that cash cow going for a little bit longer, or do you pivot and start taking some? And like we've seen Ubisoft, like I said, they take chances on their games, but um, felt like they were like trying to take chances while also like trying to like maximize profits at the same time with like tons of microtransactions, stuff like that. So it's like, yeah, they kind of feel like, yeah, they just, I don't know, it sucks. It's the bad parts of of capitalism kind of thing there, where capitalism's great, but it's kind of the world we live in with this shit. So if it doesn't work out,
True.
this is what happens. So moving on, Gables, let's move on to some positive news here. It is my favorite thing to talk about every month. We got NPDs, Gables, and we
Nice.
got some interesting stuff here. So I got some notes here too on some of this. So we got a top 20 list here, Gables. So speaking of Ubisoft, number 20, Assassin's Creed Valhalla is back up there. I
Hmm.
imagine it's going to jump up for April's because we did, like we just talked about. I think they just had the DLC come out. I believe the end of March, beginning of April. I want to say. So I wouldn't
Right.
be shocked if like we get like a big bump there from them. Maybe not a big one, but they bump up a little bit more. 19, Animal Crossing New Horizons. 18, Smash Bros. Ultimate. We got a good chunk of new games in here too. I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 new games in the top 20. So number 17, Mario Party Superstars. Number 16, game you just bought, Triangle Strategy.
Okay.
Something kind of interesting about that one. So obviously Nintendo and Take Two do not include digital sales. They're the only two of the big wigs that don't include them. Um, but so this game's number 16. It came out, I believe, March 4th of March, obviously,
Yes.
and we don't have an exact number or anything on sales. In 2 weeks we should be getting the quarterly financials for Nintendo. So maybe we hear about it then. Even though I think Nintendo published it. Yeah, Nintendo published it, but Square Enix made it. So that should be involved in there. So we should get sales numbers. But Square Enix did say that in the first 2 weeks the game was out, it sold over 800,000 copies.
Wow.
So that's probably means that anything above this probably sold 1 million copies in the month of March, assuming. Number 15 we had Madden NFL 22. Number 14 Minecraft. Number 13 FIFA 22. Number 12 a game I'll talk about a little more later, but I beat Ghostwire Tokyo.
Okay.
Brand new game. Number 11 another brand new game. Tiny Tina's Wonderland. Obviously,
Wow.
another one does not. That came out at the like I think March 25th. So it only
Yes.
had one
Close to
week.
the
Same with
end.
Ghostwire Tokyo and Tiny Tina's Wonderland both came out the same day. So only had a week on there. But that Tiny Tina's Wonderland does not include digital sales. And number 10, Gables, my potential game of the year. Number
Hmm.
10. What game is that called, Gables?
Your potential game of the year, Horizon.
Nope. Brand new game. Talk about
Oh, it's a
that.
brand new game.
I
Oh,
talked
Kirby.
about. Nope. I talked about literally 2 weeks ago.
Oh my God.
You've played
Oh.
it as well. Not the
Yeah, I
full
have played
game,
this.
but a demo.
Oh yeah, the Final Fantasy one,
Strangers in
right?
Paradise, number 10. Look
Strangers
at
in
it.
Paradise.
It's like one of like the worst selling Final Fantasy games. But hey, crack top 10. Probably not great though because that game came out like mid March. So number 9, Call of Duty Vanguard. Number 8, the most reliable game in all of video games, Mario Kart 8.
Yep.
Number 7, Gables, a comeback story for the ages.
Okay.
WWE 2K22, number 7. So
Wow.
came out at the very, very end. I believe it came out March 25th as well. So that also does not include digital sales. So pretty good. Come back in there. I'm very tempted. It was like 45. It was like $45 at GameStop the other day, and I almost bought
Yep.
it. I didn't, but I almost bought it. Um, number 6, Pokemon Legends Arceus. Number 5, my probably honest game of the year right now, Horizon 2 Forbidden West. Um,
Right.
and then we have 3 brand new games in the at 2, 3, and 4, and then a game that came out the month prior. That's probably everybody else's fucking game of the year. Number 4, MLB The Show 22. But what's really
Okay.
interesting about this game, it also came out March 25th.
Wow.
Or not, I'm sorry, no, it didn't. I'm wrong. What's really interesting about this, Gables, is so MLB The Show came out the first Friday of April, but the sales cutoff was before it will be the show officially launched. So this, so the NPD sales is based off of dollar figures, not individual copies sold, money earned. So
Okay.
this game is number 4 for the month of March. This only includes the people that bought the early access edition. That's $100.
Oh my God,
And
dude.
this game, yeah, that's fucking wild. That number
And all of that
4
is from the people that bought it for fucking $100 a
bought
pop.
the
Jesus.
$100 edition. Yeah, that's wild. Uh, that is nuts. That same thing happened with Forza Horizon 5. Last year, I believe it was like in the October's. I want to say it was October NPDs. It came out in November
Hmm.
because it came. It was like it had like 2 days. The early access edition had like 2 days on the October one or something. So like it cracked in the top 20 or something. Um, Number 3, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, doing pretty good.
Okay.
It's pretty good. First month out there. Came out also March 25th. March 25th was a big fucking day. What the hell?
Absolutely.
Gran Turismo 7, number 2. And number 1, probably one of the biggest disappointments of the year, Elden Ring. Um, so, yeah, that happened. Yeah, so that's our top 20 here. A couple notes, like I said. This is the first time since it launched, Spider-Man's Miles Morales was not on the NPDs since November 2020.
Wow.
And I've talked about it a lot every
Solid two
month.
years on the list, though.
Yeah, so a good run. Um, I think what's going on with that one is uh, basically, even though it's on PS4, when people buy, it's kind of like the Mario Kart 8 of the PS5, much smaller scale. But
Right.
I've always talked about Miles Morales is like you buy a PS5, you buy Miles Morales. My theory is that now Horizon's out. If you buy a PS5, you buy Horizon.
Yes.
So that's
Absolutely.
now the game you buy. That's like the next big game that come out on the PS5.
That's the marquee PS5 game that
Yeah,
gamers want to get when they get a PS5.
yeah. So I think that's probably what that is. Even though I know Horizon's on PS4, I bet the majority of those sales are probably PS5. So I don't give
Until
what's your
God of War comes out.
I do everything in my power. I feel like a kid on Christmas Eve, where like you just try to think about the fact that tomorrow's Christmas. I just do that with God of War Ragnarok, where I just try to think about that God of War Ragnarok is a game being made right now, because I just
sooner or
want to.
later, sooner or later, Tyler, you're gonna have dreams or something like that that you're actually having it in your hands and you're gonna be playing it or something like that. You think, oh, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna pop this in my console. All of a sudden, you just wake up like, no, no.
Gables, you act like those dreams haven't happened already. So,
Oh man, if that's what happened to me, that'd be fucking depressing.
I just drive me nuts. Just give me a goddamn date. Give me a timetable. I'm losing my goddamn mind. Anyways, NPDs, Gables, staying on track. We're
All
15
right,
minutes
so
in.
my
What's your
honest God
thoughts?
opinion about these MPDs from the month of March. I mean, they are fairly surprising, considering that a bunch of the ones that sold fairly well were at least the last couple days of the month. I mean, come on, March 25th, you had things like Kirby, Triangle Strategy, you had Tiny Tina and stuff like that, and even the $100 editions of fucking MLB 22. You know, that is wild to me that an early access type of thing for people who wanted to pay more in order to play the game sooner fairly did well in
Mm-hmm.
that regards. But yeah, it's kind of sad and also surprising seeing that Miles Morales is not on that list any longer. But at the same point, you know, you touched upon it like greatly in regards to Horizon 2, that one being a marquee game for the PS5. But other than that, though, it's really kind of the same kind of like the whole kind of thing. You know, you have your Call of Duty game, you have Gran Turismo 7, which is doing fairly good and stuff. But
Number 2.
yeah, yeah. So I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, it's the first. I think the first big month. I mean, January was a decent month because we had the Pokemon. February was decent as well because you had Horizon and Elden Ring. Um, but yeah, I mean, like we have like I said, 8 brand new games that came out. So March was a big month. A lot of just trying to get those games out there before the end of the fiscal year. But yeah, it's awesome to see Kirby doing very very well. Number 3, especially with only I believe a week on the market. So that's awesome. The game's very good. It's probably my second or third favorite game of this year, which is saying something because my current like ongoing game of the year list includes 6 games already. So it's been a pretty good year. Um, yeah, then like uh, W2K22. I'm really happy that game's selling well because that contract is up with WWE and 2K. So the fact that it's selling
Yeah.
well, and it's not only selling well, but it's reviewing well, and people seem to like it a lot, that would tell me that they're probably going to stick together. Because I would love to see them build upon all of that. So that would be
And here's a
awesome.
little fun tidbit right here. I've actually gotten addicted to watching like WB 2K22 in regards to the battle royal stuff because there's users on there that create their own characters from the or have up like downloaded characters that created characters and stuff and have their own battle royals and this and that. This is one dude on YouTube. I've watched that. He's doing like 30 rumbles, 30 types of like trying to get his ultimate type of like things right there. And some of the winners that he's had, oh Jesus Christ, like there's Pennywise, that's
I've
one
seen
run
some of these,
full.
yeah.
Yeah, they're like the freaking Carl Winslow is one another one. Then Superman and all this other stuff. The fact remains is like the game is now at a state a couple of years after the debacle that was 2020's version of WWE 2K20.
You could have just stopped at the debacle of 2020, and we would
The yeah,
understand.
the debacle of 2020's version, and it's like,
Just 2020 in general.
yeah, agreed. But what I'm saying is this game looks a lot better than
Yeah.
what
It,
initially things, and I'm actually kind of interested in seeing more of that game.
mhm. Next week we should be getting, um, seeing something from they announced on AEW Dynamite. We should be seeing something from AEW next week
Interesting.
during Dynamite. So that's pretty
Ooh,
exciting. So I don't know what that
okay.
means, um, but they've been
Of their
recording like audio of
of their
fans chanting.
game or something,
Yeah,
or
it's called AEW Fight Forever is what it's called.
oh,
But yeah, so moving on here though, like Stranger Paradise, it's that game was extremely disappointment. That game was not a game of the year contender, but it's going to be on my game of the year list. That game is very fun. That game is, I mean, I'm just it's top 10. It's number 10. That's cool. But it's ultimately going to be a disappointment. Um, it was kind of interesting. Ghostwire Tokyo number 12. It's published by Microsoft, but it's only on PlayStation and PC. Fun fact, Gables, I didn't realize this. It's only a PS5 game.
yeah,
Didn't on the PS4. I did not realize that. But yeah, so I mean that's good though. It's number 12. Site only be on not even only on the current gen consoles. So yeah, but let's move on here, Gable. So some odd news here.
hmm.
Sega they started the Super Games Initiative. Um, Last year they announced it. They are working with Microsoft. They announced back in November they're working with Microsoft with the Super Game development using the Azure cloud platform. That like and potentially like setting like kind of them working together with like using their cloud stuff. Like we've been hearing a lot about like Kojima is working with Microsoft to make a
Right,
cloud-based game for them, and probably gonna tie into like Game Pass with Xbox as well. Um, but apparently, so the big super game, the thing with super game is that they currently have 4 games in the plan for this, and kind of the idea is they basically want to make Fortnite, but not. I mean, no one can Fortnite. No one else can do Fortnite really. Eventually, somebody will, but no one's Fortnite's Fortnite. It's the biggest thing in gaming right now. But they want these games to make about $800 million over the course of its lifetime. So these games are going to be like big online games, probably who knows, assuming free to play type stuff. So now, Gables, we know apparently 2 of these games. They're early in development, could still be canceled at any time, but they're scheduled to come out in the next 2 or 3 years, Gables. And
okay,
those games are for the Super Game Initiative for Sega, Crazy Taxi and Jet Set Radio.
yeah. The moment I heard about this news and that the rumored 2 games that were going to be coming first in that regards, I thought about it. It's like, yeah, I understand both of those IPs were popular for Sega, especially on the
20,
Dreamcast.
30 years ago.
Yeah, roughly around the 20 years ago.
25, yeah, 20, yeah.
More like 22 now that I think about
Yeah,
it.
you're right. They're PS2 Dreamcast era. Yeah, so
The
20,
Dreamcast
so
games
20 years ago. Yeah.
originally, so it's roughly around that same time period. But if you're gonna start off something like that, why go with a niche thing like say Crazy Taxi or Jet Set Radio? That doesn't make sense from a company perspective.
Yeah.
You instead go with one of your most popular franchises, with either would have been, I dare say it, Sonic the Hedgehog, or
Mm.
possibly something that's more recognizable, and start with that first, and then you go forth with a couple of niche ones that get the more hardcore, like niche ones inside. They're like, say, maybe like a Crazy Taxi or something like that. But Fantasy Star is definitely something that
Well,
they've had.
and Phantasy Star 2 online has been a they've been trying to make it more financially like with microtransactions, and it's been a major disappointment for them. So already off
Well,
to a bad start.
yeah, that's the thing though. The thing about Sega is like they've had a history of like bad business decisions, sort of like not like to that extent in terms of microtransactions, but just like consoles and game announcements in general. But hearing a lot of this information coming through with what they want to try to introduce and stuff, this looks like a huge card, like just a huge wreck in the making right here.
Ah,
I'm to be perfectly honest with you, to try to tie into like say Crazy Taxi and all this other stuff, it just feels like a colossal misstep in regards to what they're trying to plan financially and also what they're trying to accomplish. Why have a huge battle royale style of a game with like IPs like say with Crazy Taxi and Jet Set Radio, unless you try to do like their own type of like versions to where you have multiple different cars instead like in trade Crazy Taxi and stuff, like do a whole bunch of different like deliveries of people and like do
yeah.
this and that.
And it's
Or if you
Pizza
do,
Hut and Offspring involved.
yeah, really. And then like with Jet Set Radio, I mean, hell, you got a whole bunch of different skaters doing this and doing that and stuff like that all around this overworld. Sounds interesting on paper, but at the same time, how are you going to tie people together in with that type of concept? Both of these IPs were popular for a reason, and that was because they enhanced a lot of the fun that was in the single player aspect, but have like some sort of split multiplayer and stuff. Those modes were okay. I mean, it wasn't like say dropping amazing. It wasn't like GoldenEye or something like that. It wasn't as popular
Yeah,
as like Smash Brothers. I mean, for
yeah,
fuck's sake. But they were still good in their own right. But inside of a huge colossal plan like this, it has to be a banger in order for that thing to be this type of concept to be successful. And I kind of feel like with this information presented, this is anything but. This is a colossal black hole.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. Like we're in business, I always tell NFL it's a copycat league. Someone does something successful, everybody's gonna do it. Same
Yep.
thing in business. It's just the same thing in everything. Um, and we've seen 20 15 years ago, Grand Theft Auto came out, changed open world games became the next big thing. Sandbox games became the thing. Everybody was doing it. This past generation, live service games became a big thing. Then free to play games, big like Fortnite and Warzone and Battle Royale games, whatever. Like these all became a huge thing, and we've been seeing, games trying to chase that dragon of becoming like if you can have a successful live service game, an ongoing game, like you're setting yourself up for massive success. But we've seen far more failures than successes, which is always the case in everything
True.
when it comes to stuff like this. Um, and I can understand the temptation of like, like we can invest a bunch of money in this thing and then it becomes we can invest far less money over time instead of continuing to invest a ton of money in making multiple projects. We can invest a ton of money initially and this one project it become big and then not put as much money into it and it just still be big. Um, but like Crazy Taxi was amazing because it was an arcade game, and then
Yep.
also it was a fun pass controller game. But it's not a fun multiplayer game. It's fun sitting there with your friends and like everybody takes their turn. And like Jet Set Radio like was just that's a very niche, like you said, franchise that wasn't relevant when it came out, but it's just people liked it when it came out. Um, and there's also I mean I can understand why you want to use these IPs because there's like when you have a known quantity, it kind of raises your floor. More
Hmm.
people will care because it's called this, you know. Like I've always talked about, Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain is bigger because it's Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain. It's not just Phantom Pain.
Right.
Zelda Breath of the Wild is bigger because it's Zelda Breath of the Wild, so
Yes.
it's made bigger. I understand that. Also, when you include that name, bad things can happen. Final Fantasy Stranger's Paradise. People interested, but that game it also lowers the value of your IP. Uh, so yeah, like I understand it, the temptation. I understand what they're doing. Um, I just Crazy Taxi and Jet Set Radio are just I don't feel like there's two other games in the plan. Maybe they're just looking at like we're just gonna like we're hearing about PlayStation. They have like 10 live service games. That's a big reason why about Bungie is to help them understand how this works and make it work and set them up to be for successful later. Um, so maybe the plan is like like PlayStation. They probably know that they're putting out 10 of these. Some are gonna fail, but if a couple hit, they're golden. That'll make up for the losses on the rest. Um, and maybe that's the case of this. Like we're gonna make four, and if one hits, we're doing good.
Yep.
Um, and maybe that's the case. We're just throwing shit at the wall and see what sticks type of thing. But we'll see. But we'll see how much damage it does to Sega in the meantime. Who knows? But I mean, as long as I guess Sonic movies are doing good, who cares? I guess. But moving on, Gables. Let's go quickly through the rest of the game news for the week here. So the Mario movie got delayed. It's just called Mario. It's coming out April 7th, 2023 now. A lot of it sounds like it has to do with because DreamWorks delayed Puss in Boots 2 to that same week.
Mm.
So they probably delayed it because of that. We see that all the time. A big movie gets announced where another big movie is already at. So that the other movie moves because they don't want to be in that. They don't want to be like at the same time. Same thing we see in video games. Red Dead Redemption 2 is coming out in November, so Call of Duty comes out in October. People don't want to
Yes.
be over, and there's a tornado coming through, and they don't want to be within distance of hitting distance of that. But the entire plot leaked online, Gables,
Yeah.
and I read it.
You read it.
I read it. Even the post credit scene leaked.
Oh wow.
I'm
And I'm. What do you think? It's awful. I am not gonna go forth and ask for any spoilers because
I mean, it's obviously. I mean, when you read it, probably sounds worse than when you see it. I mean, this is the people that made the Lego movie, and the Lego movie was
right.
awesome, surprisingly awesome. So
Okay.
this could be surprisingly awesome. But apparently the Mario and Luigi Gables. Can I spoil what they sound like?
Okay.
They have Brooklyn accents.
Okay. Stereotypical Brooklyn accents.
Yes,
Okay, like Italian plumbers.
and it's also a musical.
Mm. I heard a little bit about that in
Mario
regards to it being a
sings.
musical. Don't know why, but
Yes.
do
So
they
yeah,
want the Mario
I don't know.
movie
I
part
mean,
two?
obviously, I don't want to say anything else, but it's just like, oh boy, okay. But obviously, we're old. This is a family kids movie. I'm still gonna watch it. I watched the Uncharted movie, which I'll talk about later. So I'll watch anything, obviously, video game related. So we'll talk about it later. But Sifu also apparently I believe next week is getting a easy mode, which I've talked about. They announced a little bit ago that they're doing an easy mode, and I'm pretty excited about this. I think I'm gonna check the game out. He almost had to walk away for a second, so I'm just gonna kind of ramble on. Ramble on. Sorry, I don't know why I did that. It just felt like doing that. But I'm definitely. This game looked amazing when it got announced. It's coming out. The reviews have been really awesome. A lot of people have been talking about this as like it's on their short list for game of the year. Obviously, it's early, whatever. But yeah, this game looks awesome. It's like a roguelike, but I still think I might like it. It seems like it could be a cool game. And it having like an easier mode, will definitely has me interested in it. And they also kind of tease that it looks like it might become the Switch later. So right now it's a console exclusive to PlayStation. I think it's also on Epic Game Store. I don't know if it's on Steam. I think it's on Epic. Epic. I don't know why I'm really. Am I high? I don't know. I've done drugs ever, but it's the reason when I said Epic, it just felt good. Um, moving on here. Modern Warfare 2 got announced officially. We've known about that forever. It's always funny that like I remember James Harden, the NBA player, wore a Black Ops 4 hat to a game one time, and like before the game got revealed, and it kind of blew up on the internet, and it's like so they're like the next day like, oh yeah, Black Ops 4 is happening, that's coming out this year, and then that came out, and I guess the same thing kind of happened this week. I guess the same thing happened also in 2019 with Modern Warfare, because the NFL draft happened this weekend, and they like let some of the prospects, I guess for some odd reason, let them see the game, and they did that in 2019, and they did it again this year. but I think they knew because it leaked last time that it's probably going to leak again this time. They just announced it alongside that, so that's probably why. We just got a logo. We don't know any other details, but they said it's going to be more modern and warfare-y than ever before. So that's happening. Um, some other news here. PlayStation for their PlayStation new PlayStation Plus stuff is requiring any game over like I think $34. There's been some details that maybe not entirely correct about that. Requiring trials for every game over that price point to be at least 2 hours long. There's been a lot of hubbub, but that's kind of shitty because we've heard like when Xbox Live Arcade required that, it was very frustrating for a lot of small indie studios to require demos. But it sounds like PlayStation is said they can take care. They have a department that's basically going to take care of that for them. So that's awesome, I guess. That's gonna be like that's one of their top tier things. And they did put out a conversion chart for people that if you want to convert your if you have like already have PS Plus or PS Now and you want to convert that over, there is a conversion chart and you can look up what you have left and it'll show you what happens if you decide to go to the extra tier or the premium tier, whatever. It'll show you like I have PS Plus until June 2024, but if I convert over in June of this year to the premium one, basically because it's $120 a year, it would basically just cut that in half to June 2023. Uh, so yeah, basically it was kind of cool. Hey, on the plus side, there's 365 days in the year, so there's an odd number of days. So if you say exactly 365 days worth, they give you the extra day. So they eat that cost on that the extra day. So that's cool of them. And then next up, last but not least here, Gables, Star Wars Jedi, which is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order was the first game. The next
Mm-hmm.
game will not be called Fallen Order. Apparently, it's actually the game is called just, as of right now, we know it's Star Wars Jedi 2, but we don't know what the after the semicolon, not semicolon, the colon. Whatever. Anyways, apparently the game that's supposed to be announced at there's that big Disney thing event going on at the end of May. It will not
Mm,
be at May the
okay.
4th, but there's a Disney event happening in the May that will be revealed there. And Jeff Grubb and a couple other people reported that they were aiming for 2022. It's now coming out in 2023, and this will be a next gen game only, our current gen or new gen, whatever you
That
want to
sounds
call it.
about right.
Yeah, so Dead Space and Star Wars Jedi 2 will be coming out next year. So, but Gables, moving on here to what we've been playing. Finally, I'm gonna go real fast because I
Got
haven't
it.
done much this week. Um, I beat Ghostwire Tokyo. I thought about if you
Okay.
want my full opinion on it, go to next week. There's time codes in there. Click on that. I really enjoyed the game. I was at the point of no return. I hit that right before we started recording last week. I had like 45 minutes left. I beat it. Um, I enjoyed it. It's not great. It's not amazing. Um, I feel like like this is a run of the mill rest of the year. If this ends up, I wouldn't be shocked if this is like that 9-10 range on my game of the year list.
Okay.
But I also wouldn't be shocked if it falls out of that either. But I think it's a very good game. I think if you see it for like, I bought it because it was like a buy two get one free sale. That's the reason I picked it up at $60. But I enjoyed it quite a bit. I don't want to I feel like I'm underselling it, being a little too negative on that. But I think it's a very good game. It's just not like it's not blowing. It didn't blow me away other than like it looks gorgeous. And I thought the loop of the world was really interesting, and
Hmm.
I like walking around the world and exploring more than I like playing the game, which isn't a bad thing. But I think they made a really cool open world, and I like that game. So I do recommend it. I just like I didn't understand the story at all. Um, I played another game. I can't pronounce it. Mutanium and ANNO space MUTANTIONEM. It is a game that came out, I believe, last month. It's on, at least I know it's on PlayStation. I believe it's on PC and stuff like that. It's like a 2D side scroller, cyberpunk style, very beautiful graphics, like pixel art, but like cyberpunky world,
Right.
where you play as a girl. But it's got the anime style to it, where like it's overly sexual, which kind of makes you uncomfortable. I don't like, um, but like a lot of unnecessary boob jiggles, and you can make your character shower whenever you want. You don't see anything, but they cut off the boobs in the pelvic region. But you could just make your character shower whenever you want and put her in as sexy outfits as you want as well. My main draw of the game was I love the art style. I'm getting past all that stuff. Um, but overall the combat is really cool. So
Okay.
it's a 2D like side scroller. Like you got a sword, you got a gun, you can hack slash. It's got fast pace. Like you got a dash mechanic, which is always awesome. Um, the story is pretty interesting. Where like basically like the brother. So far I'm only like an hour in, so I'm not gonna talk too long about it. Uh, but like, it seems like the brother's disappearing. Like so, your main character, she has a disease, and he thinks he found a cure, but he might have like fucked some bad people over to possibly get the cure for his sister. And she's trying to find. She's like a private investigator, and there's like side content. Like I had to find like investigate like there's like side stories you can do where like oh hey like this one of your neighbors was murdered. We think we know who the murderer is, but we can't find him, and you can go find him and shit like that. But I really like playing the game. It took a long time to get to the point where you can play the game. Like I said, like an hour and a half in, the first like hour was like there's like you're not actually playing the game. It's just like a lot of introduction. Like there's like different like set like areas you can be in. They're not like big areas. You can walk the whole thing in like seconds. But you can go in, you can talk to a lot of people. You talk to your sister, she's a bartender. You can also be a bartender as well. And based off how well you do, there's like a mini game you can do, and you can earn money depending on how well you do. And you can buy upgrades, and there's a skill tree and stuff like that. So far, I like it though. I'm gonna keep playing it, despite the jiggly boobs. That should be a Pokemon, jiggly boobs. Um, but the thing I want to talk about Gables is not a game at all. I watched the Uncharted movie,
Okay.
and I need to talk about it, Gables.
Okay.
It sucks.
Mhm.
It's really bad. I bought it. I messaged you when I bought it.
Yes, you
I
did.
recorded myself buying it, and I sent it to you, and I said I'm part of the problem. And I didn't realize how much of a part of the problem I am, Gables. So I heard this movie was pretty decent. People were saying, yeah,
Yeah.
it's actually surprisingly pretty good. It's not, Gables. It's trash. Um, if I I like Tom Holland, I like the MCU, I like him as Spider-Man. Mark Wahlberg, when he wants to be, can be very funny and very good in these type of roles. When you think of Uncharted, you think, like good action set pieces, but with some charm and some wittiness, some comedy to it, some levity to it.
Right.
Um, what if we gave you that, but what if we gave you Uncharted, but with only the names and just some of the like set pieces from the game? But
Oh
we didn't.
boy.
We called them Nathan Drake and Sully, but they're not charming. They're not funny at all. It's the most generic action movie that I've ever watched.
Mm,
If you were like, here's the baseline action movie, this is it.
mm.
There's no comedy. They have Chloe in it, but they don't have Ellie, or not Ellie.
Elena.
Elena. Sorry, I mixed up PlayStation characters there. Um, Justin came by today because I left my tennis shoes in his car because I had to change them into my dress shoes for this wedding last week.
Hmm.
And I told him that I watched it, and I said if he ever lets his children watch it, I will call DHS on him. And I'm not kidding. Um, it's just incredibly boring. It's 2 hours long. Uh, don't watch this movie. I can't. I didn't. I wasn't going in when I heard the reviews. People were like, it's okay. It's pretty good." I'm like, "All right. Like, I can live with okay and pretty good. I can live with like that's way better than what I ever thought this movie could be with Mark Wahlberg in it. Like, I like Wahlberg and stuff. I really like him. And like, what's the other guys, Pain and Gain. He's really good when he wants to be funny. He's funny as shit. And like Ted, I love him. He's hilarious in those movies. He's good in those movies. Um, he's 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 not solely Gables. Like, and I don't want like a rip off of the stories. I don't want. You don't need to rip it off, but like at least be the characters. When you make a movie based off a book, you at least make the characters the characters.
Yep.
And they're just the characters in name only. And it's like it's kind of follows the plot of Uncharted 4, like loosely, but it's also like an origin story of these characters. You know, like in the games, like Sully met Nathan when he was a teenager. And this like you know, he's already and he taught him how to be a thief. In this, Nathan's already 25 and been a thief for many years. And Sully knows his brother. Like Sully knows of Nathan because of his brother Sam, and Nathan assumes Sam's been alive this whole time. And it's like there's so like this. What happened to Sam? Like I haven't seen like it's like this is like the first 5 minutes of the movie. Like Sam like was gonna go to jail, so he like left, and he hadn't seen him like in 15 years, and he doesn't know where he is. Um, but it's basically it loosely follows it kind of follows the Uncharted 4 plot, but it takes some of the big set pieces from like the games like he has like the like Uncharted 3 when you're falling out of the plane and you're fighting guys like from like on the like falling out of the plane shit like that. Yeah, it's just bad. It's not even bad. It's just boring, which is probably worse than being bad. Like Final Fantasy Origins Stranger in Paradise is a bad video game, but it's fun as fucking shit to play. Uh and you can there's bad movies out there that's fun as hell to watch.
Right.
Um this is not one of them. Uh it's like it's more frustrating because of that. Like at least if it was bad fun, it would like at least it'd be like just be have some fun at all. Would be amazing. And like the whole time, like it's like those people that like hate Lord of the Rings because like the movies because they love the book so much. Like I'm not that. Like I don't need that. I just need you to be entertaining and give me some like throw me a bone here and there. And they do. They throw me a couple bones in there. There's a couple like cameos, fun little things, and like, some little Easter eggs in there. Um, but yeah, this I hope there's an Uncharted 2 movie. Or if there is, they like learn some lessons on this. And like I remember like Tom Holland did an interview last year after they got done filming it, and he said he didn't understand the Nathan Drake character until after he made the movie, and he has a lot of regrets about the way he acted in that movie, and that concerned me. And it sounds like these guys honestly didn't even bother to watch like a YouTube video and understand these characters whatsoever.
That doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, come on. When it comes to a lot of the video game movies, this is the biggest problem that
But
happens. It's like
these
they
aren't.
don't sort. They don't go through and do research in regards to a lot of these fucking sources besides maybe a couple of things here and there that they may have watched, but not dissecting actual
But it's like
characters.
the Resident Evil movie, the new one. Like I haven't watched it. I'm probably gonna watch that eventually. Like the problem is it's so focused on the video games that it's. But the problem, like, it's just bad. But it's also because it's like they didn't have like a big budget. Probably. I'm gonna end up watching that movie now. Uh, I'll rent it. I can at least rent that one. I don't have to buy. I don't have to buy like a fucking dude Uncharted. Um, but I don't know. Like it seemed like we just got a bunch of money to make this movie, and who
Yep.
gives a shit? It's a video game movie. It's not Spider Man, and Mark Wahlberg's like, cool. I'm just gonna be. It's just basically Tom Holland being Tom Holland without, and maybe it's the script too. It could be it's maybe even the actor's fault, because there's no like I said, there's no witty lines. There's not even like attempts at comedy in this movie. It's just we're trying to be as serious as possible, action movie, and it's just not good. And it's upsetting. It's disappointing. I like Tom. Like I said, I like these actors individually and other things. Um, like Tom Holland, I've seen him outside of being Peter Parker, and he's very good. He's a very good actor. Mark Wahlberg, like I said, when he wants to be, he could be awesome. And maybe ultimately it's the script's fault, not the actor's fault. But if they do an Uncharted 2, which they probably will because it was very successful in the theaters, and I bought it, so they're probably like, well, Tyler bought it, so we should probably make a second one. Um, yeah, I don't know, but I'll buy that one too probably, and um, I'll be back here in 4 years bitching about that too. So that's what I've been doing, Gables. Tell me you got some good news for me.
All right. You know what? When it comes to gameplay this past week, there has been like a few things that I have played. but more or less it's kind of getting my brain back into this scheme, just getting back to the groove of things in order to try to concentrate on something to play. Ever since I beat Elden Ring, it's been like a huge void in regards to not only just like the game that I want to play next, but also the motivation to go through and actually start something that's going to, progressively go through. So I mostly just started playing a little bit more of like the Mario Golf thing on Nintendo
Mm.
Switch Online, like from last week. I did go through that complete
Nice.
like character unlock mode and stuff. And fun fact, that game was a lot shorter than I thought it was going to be. I mean, granted, you can go through, you can get through the entire courses, you can unlock all the courses if you want, you can go through and do the badge tournaments and this and that. You could go through the do the ring shot stuff, the mini golf stuff. I mean, there's plenty of things to do, but I went with the unlocking the characters because that's what I did first and foremost, and that's kind of one of the ways you can actually go through and beat the game is by unlocking all the characters that is set through that mode. Because I didn't know about this up until I remembered after I did it, to where I beat Bowser, right, with Mario. Like Mario was a bitch to unlock because obviously the AI and stuff at that point, a lot of the putts, a lot of the freaking strokes and stuff like that they would hit, you know, it would be fairly accurate on par and stuff. The AI can be pretty crazy in regards to some of that stuff and how precise it can be, especially against Bowser. I mean, granted, I struggle a bit towards with Bowser as well, but I managed to get into a groove of things. I managed to go through and finish it off and stuff. And it was pretty funny because it's like I at one point sunk like about a 50-foot birdie, like from one of like the later holes and stuff. And I think it was either the battle against Mario or possibly Bowser and stuff. And what's kind of hilarious about it is because of how the AI is, like the ball was like maybe about 15 or 20 feet away. So they had like about fucking like a 15, 20 foot putt. And here I am estimating like what I could do. And then all of a sudden I do like the freaking stuff to where I hit the damn ball. It's like 50 feet from the hole. I freaking putt the ball. I somehow miss it by like maybe a quarter of an inch, or maybe on the rare occasion I hit the damn thing and it actually sinks into the damn hole, and all of a sudden you have that little that freaking animation. And here's something I didn't know: depending upon how far you sink a putt, there's a specific characters and stuff that'll pop out of the hole. So, like for say a 50-foot putt, or like maybe more than 30 feet or something like that, you have a Monty Mole. But if it's like close to about 70 to 90 feet, which I did sink one putt doing that, there's a fucking Goomba that jumps out of the hole. It's like, oh, fantastic putt. But after that, it's like I freaking unlocked the credits and stuff like that. And the credits started playing. Like, did I really just beat this game in like at least a couple of hours? I mean, it wasn't that short to begin with. And yeah, if you don't want to emphasize on trying to unlock everything, yeah, you can beat this game in a few hours if you know what you're doing. But other than that, just finished up another round of like Tecmo Bowl in terms of like the whole freaking playthrough and stuff. Hilariously enough, that's the game that I've played the most on the NES, like online app and stuff, is like Tecmo Bowl, because I choose San Francisco, I go through and I play through the games. There's like a couple different plays that you can choose from, like four different plays on both offense and defensive side of things. What's kind of hilarious about it is the last play and stuff, the last game I had before I initially went through and won the Techno Bowl stuff was face off against Minnesota. And what's kind of hilarious about it is like Minnesota is like they'll the AI is to that point where, okay, this is the very last game. Let's increase the difficulty tenfold so that way you can go forth and be like have things intercepted or have things in there. Or and I got so pissed off that I started just going through with the save states. Oh, you want to go through and you want to try to pull this bullshit everything? Well, here's what I'm gonna do. So after every type of play, I'm like, okay, you're gonna do that play. I'm gonna do this, and I'm fucking blowing them out like fucking 63 to nothing.
Well, Gables is a cheater. Who would have thought?
Oh god. Well, for that case and scenario, I've already beat the game a couple different times the right way without too many of the save states. Because normally I play a game And then after I go through and beat the team and stuff, I do my save state stuff. And that was the only instance I've ever had with that game where it's like, you know what? I'm gonna do it this way, and I'm gonna fucking beat the shit out of you because you fucking pissed me off.
Gables beat Elden Ring on easy mode. I had to say it.
Nah.
I had to say it. Sorry. Blew you up. I had to.
But anyway, that's pretty much it from what I've been playing.
All right. Well, we do have Trek the Yami is coming out on Thursday.
Check the Yomi? Yes.
Yomi, whatever it's called. Yeah. It's coming to Game Pass too, Gables.
Absolutely it
And,
is.
and what do we call it? Game Pass?
Oh, the best deal in gaming.
Goddamn fucking right. That's what we call this best podcast in gaming as well. And you should like, follow, and download us everywhere you go. Please do that. Like I said, tell your friends, share it, click that thumbs up button over. Oh no, reverse now. We're on Skype now, so now it's my camera's the other way. So click that like button over there on Gables Junk, and every time you do it, he's gonna crack open a 7-Up with one finger. And if you're a girl, crack open 2 with one finger. I don't know what that means, but I don't know. I just want to picture Gables with 2 7-Ups with one finger. Probably badass. But anyways, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm rambling now. It is 12:45, 12:50 now my time. So running on beer and fumes. So anyways, like, follow, subscribe, tell your friends. Would appreciate if you did all that. I was host. I was Tyler.
And I have been Colonel Gables. Until next time, everyone, thank you very much for listening to another fun-filled episode of the Drunk-Nerds podcast.
And hey, Gables.
Yep.
Too sweet?
Too sweet, man.
Bye, guys.
See ya.